Hey guys, and welcome to another weekly draft video here on the Need to Own Magic channel. We're doing some more Oath of the Gatewatch, which I finally managed to record a 3-0 with last week after a lot of 2-1s, and actually I hadn't done anything but 2-1s, even in videos I hadn't recorded before then. Since then I've done a couple more 3-0s, but I've also had a couple 1-2s, so things have sort of normalized finally for me in this format. Waiting for this queue to fill, so before we get started I wanted to say that my videos are also part of the content that is posted on Paper Champion, a great Magic the Gathering website you should check out. The link is in the description for this video, and it's paperchampion.net. I can tell you that because it's a pretty simple link. But yeah, I'll be back with you guys when this pack opens. Alright, pack should open any second now. Right, Dimensional Infiltrator is a perfectly serviceable card that I like quite a bit, but not enough to take over some of the other cards we've got in this pack. We have Devour in Flames, which is a very strong removal spell, and we also have Oblivion Strike, which is a very strong removal spell. It's hard to really beat either of those in this pack. Harvester Troll's not especially good. Consuming Sinkhole's not that good. Free Runner is fine. Hedron Crawler can be good. Pulse of Marasa is okay. Sideboard. Shoulder to Shoulder I do like, but not this early. So, I mean, there's really no discussion here of anything close to being first pickable other than the Strike and the Devour in Flames. So the question is, which is better? And the answer, I think, is pretty definitely Oblivion Strike. It does cost one more, but it can deal with anything. And granted, Devour in Flames can deal with just about anything. And it is more efficient, but I think I like the Strike more than I do the Devour. So I think we're going to go with this. I think black's a stronger color than red generally too, so that certainly plays a role. Okay, so we got Visions of Brutality here, which is a good card, but I think you have to be in an aggressive deck to take it, and we don't know that we're there yet. We also have a second Oblivion Strike. So I think I'm just going to take that and stay black. Cyclone Sire is quite good, and so is Blinding Drone. Those are the other cards here that I think are on, well, and Boulder Salvo. They're all sort of on pretty high power levels, but Oblivion Strike number 2 is what I would rather have. Okay, Oath of Jace, not particularly exciting. There is a Baloth Null, who's a card I like a lot, and it may be what I take here. It doesn't lock me into green, but I could splash for green fairly easily. Sky Scourer is good, but you have to be granted both our spells are colorless, but you have to be pretty committed to the colorless archetype to make it very good. Granted, taking the Null also has caveats that come with it, but the Null's power level is a lot higher, so I'd rather take that if there's caveats associated with it. I could just sort of take a safe pick like Seer's Lantern, but I think I'm going to go with the Null and see if we can get him into the deck just because he's pretty amazing. Alright. Well, there's a Submerged Boneyard, which means we could splash. It'd be easier to splash if we ended up blue-black, for example. There's also a Dwar Isle Avenger, a Sky Scourer. There's nothing in green here that we really like. Flaying Tendrils can be good. In our deck, right now basically does look like a control deck, but we're still pretty early, so I don't know if I want to lock myself in on that. Dwar Isle Avenger, Sky Scourer, Spawnbinder Mage also is quite good, I think, and Warden of Geometries are all cards I'm thinking about taking here. I may just sort of take the Scourer and stay black, but the Dwar Isle Avenger is pretty strong. And so is the Spawnbinder Mage. I think they're both better than Sky Scourer, in a vacuum. I think I'm going to go with the Avenger. Sort of see if blue's open enough for us to keep doing that. All right, well, another Sky Scourer showing up. Seems like we could have had 3 of them in our deck, and they do get better in multiples, I would say. I think I'm finally going to take one. Granted, we've passed 2. Maybe some come back to us, but I think now we take one over Spawnbinder or Zulaport Chain Mage, both of which we need to be sort of committed to an artifact archetype, an ally archetype for them to be reasonable picks. Okay, well, getting a Thought Harvester is nice. I also like Containment Membrane, Slip Through Space, and Unnatural Endurance. Slip Through Space you really only want in a Surge deck, and we have a card with Surge, but I don't really think we're going to end up in the Surge deck. I do like Membrane, but I think we've already got two very strong removal spells, so I think I'm just sort of going to take the good creature here in the form of Thought Harvester. We could think about taking Seer's Lantern because it adds colorless, which is relevant in the archetype it looks like we're ending up in, but I'm going to take a late Thought Harvester. It does, I think, mean blue's pretty open, as does Sweep Away. Slaughter Drone's good too, and Seer's Lantern. So all three of those I like. Here I think I'm going to take the Sweep Away. 3 lands in this pack, huh? Well, 4 really. But yeah, I'm going to take Sweep Away here, the good removal spell. I mean, it is temporary, but it's a pretty big tempo swing kind of card. You know, and I like that. I do like Slaughter Drone too, but I think I like Sweep Away more here. Something like Slaughter Drone is nice for setting up, you know, like 2-drop, 3-drop on turn 5 with our Dwar Isle Avenger. So splashing green is still a possibility, and we should keep an eye out for non-basics that can help us do that because Baloth Null is that strong. All right, here I think we just take a Gravity Negator. Scion Summoner is a pretty strong card to still be floating around, but we really haven't seen any other big green signals, so I don't know if that means the other green that's been opened has been weaker, or if it just means, you know, there was another good green card in this pack that someone took over the Summoner. But the Summoner is a very good card, just for reference, but and probably better than Gravity Negator, but I don't want to be in green, I don't think, unless I'm, like, really... I mean, I don't want to be doing anything more than splashing it, I don't think. That's what I'm trying to say. So this land doesn't do what we need it to do. I think we just take the trick here, which is only going to be... Well, this one's a little better than most because it is basically guaranteed to save your creature, unlike some of the others, which can only do it in certain situations. So we might play it. We do need to be more of an aggressive deck to really make it work, and so far, I don't think we're the most aggressive deck. If we had 3 Sky Scourers, we probably would be, but that's not where we ended up. Maybe it is where we should have ended up. So Visions of Brutality kind of has the same problem, but there's nothing else in this pack for us, so I think I'm just going to take the Visions. Maybe we end up in a more aggressive build, and we actually want to play it. So, I mean, it is a good card if you're like the beatdown, because your opponent's just put in an awful place where they just can't race you. Okay, so I think we go for a colorless source here, and I think I like Unknown Shores because it can both splash green for us, granted not super effectively, and it's a colorless source, a little more than the Seer's Lantern. If I didn't have the second color, like if I didn't really want to play this Baloth Null, I would take the Seer's Lantern, but I do want to play that Null, so I'm going to go with the Unknown Shores. So far, we only have one creature that needs colorless, but it's pretty likely we end up with more. And so far, all of our creatures fly, too. So I have found that there's sort of a black-blue skies deck in this format, in the colorless deck. There's lots of flyers in those two colors. And I drafted it once, and I think I 2-1'd with it. So it kind of looks like we're ending up there where we just have lots of removal and remove stuff in the sky. All right, so here it's either an Entangler or a Warden. I think I'm leaning more towards the Warden than the Entangler. I do like Entanglers, but I think you need to have like a certain kind of deck, and I have managed to build a deck that really wanted prowess in the past. I'm going to take Mighty Leap away from someone because it is a reasonable trick. Dazzling Reflection isn't really, though, so I'll take some pretty land. All right, so I think blue and black are suitably open. We saw late Thought Harvester, late Sweep Away. Late Visions is a pretty good indicator, too, although it's only good, and it's not going to be that good in our deck. All right, we don't really want Overwhelming Denial. It is overwhelmingly underwhelming, so I don't think we want that. Blinding Drone is kind of what I'm leaning towards here. There is a Submerged Boneyard and an Essence Depleter, too. All three of these cards that are right next to each other are quite good. Wouldn't mind wheeling like a Pathfinder. But I think Blinding Drone I have ahead of Essence Depleter. I think that Blinding Drone is just really good, especially in a controlling deck. Essence Depleter is too. It can help us finish our opponent, but we have, sort of a win through the skies strategy coming into place fairly well, I think. So I think I'm going to take the Drone over the Depleter. I would not mind wielding a Boneyard or a Pathfinder, or a Depleter, but I don't think the Depleter's coming back, unfortunately. But we'll take the Drone here. All right, Null Caller is quite good. So is Reality Hemorrhage. I like it a fair amount. I mean, it is weaker in this format than it usually is, but it still kills I looked it up once, and there's like 28 common creatures that Reality Hemorrhage, common or uncommon, that Reality Hemorrhage still kills, and that is plenty. Null Caller seems like a good card for our deck. It turns our dead creatures into zombies, and it's a good blocker. I like Containment Membrane too in a deck like this, because we're going to be on the defensive a fair amount, I think. And Containment Membrane, is good when you're in that situation because it can tap a guy down. So it's either Containment Membrane or Null Caller for me here. I don't know which one I want more. I guess Null Caller is better when you have several creatures, and that's not something we have. I think I will take the Membrane, the removal, over it. I wouldn't mind a Null Caller at some point, but I'm going to go with the Membrane. Well, there you go. And it is what I'm going to take here, so that worked out pretty well. Cinder Barons, I guess I could take on speculation, but what we really want to splash is green. Seer's Lantern isn't something I would mind either, but I think we take Null Caller over the Lantern. Those are really just the Null Caller and the Lantern are the considerations here. Comparative Analysis is a card that's really only good if you somehow end up with 5 or 6 copies of the guys with Prowess, which I've only managed to do once in this format, and then it's pretty sweet. Yeah, so I think I'm going to take the Null Caller here. Okay, so there's decent removal, good creature, and another colorless source. Oh, there's also a Jwar Isle Avenger. We are a little low on low drops, and the more low drops we get, the better the Jwar Isle Avenger is. But I think I take the Avenger. I like it. A 3/3 is actually quite sizable in this format for a flyer. Okay, now I think we want Cultivator Drone. I do like Sky Scour. I do like Blinding Drone, but I think we are getting to a place where, well, I guess until we have a second Blinding Drone, we're not ultra really wanting the colorless, but it's still a 3-mana 2/3, which I think is relevant. Oh, Gravity Negator wants it too. So, yeah, Cultivator Drone versus Blinding Drone. I mean, I'm probably going to see other colorless sources in forms of lands. I think getting a second Blinding Drone is probably stronger. Again, I like Sky Scourer, but I like Blinding Drone more. We keep sort of seeing it in situations where there's just better stuff going on. Okay, Captain's Claws is an okay equipment. One of the few in the format that's playable. And we did see at least a couple of the red-white gold guy that pumps people if you have equipment, so that's something to remember. There's another Tar Snare here, which has sort of been underwhelming. Like I said, Reality Hemorrhage can be pretty good, but this costs 1 more to do basically the same thing, and I don't love that. It can sometimes be a trick, I guess, which is nice. I think I'm actually going to take a Vestige here, though, and again, it helps us get green mana if we need it, and it's a colorless source, so I think I'm pretty happy with that. Over the Unknown Shores, I think I'd rather have the Vestige. Another Vestige, another Cultivator Drone. So now we think we take Cultivator Drone over a Vestige. Yeah, that's what I'm going to do. Step Glider still being here is interesting. But yeah, we'll take the Drone. So, okay, well, I mean, now I'll probably take Tar Snare. I mean, it's fine. You just don't want to be taking it over some other cards. And now, I mean, we have Flaying Tendrils, which actually... Do we have any creature that dies to Flaying Tendrils? Sky Scourer, that's it. I might want Flaying Tendrils. I think I do. I mean, chances that our deck stays, like this, where not everything... I mean, the Null Caller tokens die too, but it's pretty strong when you can, your creatures are big enough. Oh, good, this Boneyard came back. I think we're definitely going to be able to splash green for the Null, and Evolving Wilds would help us do that, but... yeah, I'm going to take a Scythe Master away from someone, although Bleed by Example is quite good too. Scythe Master I think is a little better, and not facing it would be fine with me. Now I'll take Comparative Analysis in a grindier matchup, I guess, where we play like another deck kind of like ours. It's sort of control-y, then I would side it in. Same, Negate is a good sideboard card too. So we have, 3, 4 colorless sources? I think that's enough. I mean, Blinding Drone is still a fail. Wow, green is really open. I saw that late sign summoner earlier. I really should have taken it and maybe moved all the way into green. I mean, I guess I can stick it here for now, but I don't think we're going to be able to make it work when we have plenty of blue and black cards that are good. I mean, I guess I could, like, depending on what we see in the next pack, I guess I could end up sort of changing my mind. Another negate for the sideboard doesn't hurt. Changing my mind and splashing black instead for just the strikes and taking out the other cards. Like, I could see that happening. If green's really this open, like if we start seeing the good green cards from Oath, from Battle for Zendikar, then it's worth thinking about. Our blue cards are definitely on the whole better. Our 2 Oblivion Strikes are the only thing that has me, like, wanting to make sure we're playing black. I mean, the Tendrils is pretty nice in our deck too. Not so much with Scion Summoner, but the Tendrils, I mean, there are aggressive decks in this format that would just level, and that's good to know. All right, well, Clutch of Currents, I think, is the pick here. Nothing worth noting. I mean, black, 2 mana Culling Drone, if that wheels, I'd be okay with it. But our deck's kind of on the controlling side, and Clutch goes that route. So I think I'd rather have that at this point. So that's what I'll take. In terms of green, there's also nothing here making me want to try to play green. The Stalwart's not bad if we get some better fixing, but the Clutch is one of the best commons in Battle for Zendikar, and I don't think it's weakened at all in this new format. So I'm pretty happy with that. So I don't think Visions of Brutality will be making our deck. The Summoner probably won't be either. I mean, you also want to be able to play it on turn 3 consistently. The Null we can play, on turn 8 when we finally get a green source and get our value. So, I mean, I don't think I'm going to play that. I mean, if we see some crazy green stuff, like I said, we do sort of have a fallback plan of like cutting our less amazing black cards and leaving in our strikes and splashing them. Okay, well, Painful Truths is quite good. This pack has some good stuff going on. Painful Truths also should be worth something. Okay, it's not. It's worth like a ticket. So this pack has Complete Disregard, Clutch of Currents, Painful Truths, and Evolving Wilds. All cards I wish I could just take and put in my deck. Painful Truths, if we had a really good fixing, I think I would want it a little more. I don't know, though. We are a control deck, and drawing those cards is pretty good. But the Clutch and the Complete Disregard, man, they're both such good cards. I think I'm going to take Painful Truths, though. I'm just going to go for it. Even if it's just drawing me 2 cards, I think that's getting that gas is going to be pretty big for our deck. So I am sad there were so many other good cards in that pack. Like, if I already had an Evolving Wilds, Painful Truths, would it be even better? But I'm okay with it. So, do we want a Cloud Manta or a Hagra Sharpshooter? Hagra Sharpshooter, I think, is a little better than it used to be. These creatures with activated abilities can help break up the rather common board stalls in the format. Cloud Manta is a little more aggressive of a card, and it's sort of gotten weaker in a world with like the 1/4 flyers and stuff. I think I'm going to go for the Sharpshooter here. I like it a little more in this format, and we have way better flyers, so I think I'm, okay, good. Well, of course we're faced with this again, Complete Disregard versus Evolving Wilds. I think I go with the Disregard, as much as, making our mana even better would be good. I think we go with the removal over the Evolving Wilds. It's a very good removal spell. We have tons of removal, but, that can help you win games. Okay, so here we have Silent Skimmer, who's sort of a good member of that black-blue Skies deck you can build, but there's also a Dampening Pulse, which is a great card that people still seem to be underrating, that I will be taking here over a Silent Skimmer, which I wouldn't mind picking up one of, but we're going to take the Pulse. We do need some more low drops to make our Dwar Isle Avenger better, but it is fine as is. We need more low drops in general because of, this format can end up being fast. I mean, we do have ways to, we have some early stuff. I don't know if we want this in the end. There's a Carrier Thrall here who is a lower drop who gets some value. Also a Silent Skimmer. But I do think we probably want like a 4th 2-drop, and Carrier Thrall is a quite good one, I think. So it can also help us ramp a little if we're interested in doing stuff, and it's also better for our Dwar Isle Avengers if we have some more 2-drops. So I'm gonna go for the Thrall. Merc Strider. What do we have to enable you? Very little. Our Flaying Tendrils Other nice thing is Flaying Tendrils and Thrall isn't like a, super non-synergy. Um, yeah, I mean, I think I'm going to take a Strider. I kind of doubt it makes our deck in the end, but I'm going to take it. We do have Complete Disregard and Oblivion Strikes, actually, so I just changed my mind. I think it probably will make our deck. We have 3 ways of exiling things, and 4 if we, can get Flaying Tendrils going. And it's not god-awful as a 4-mana 3/2, so... Alright. Here, I mean, I might take a Bone Splinters. I don't, see myself playing the Geyser Field Stalker. I'm going to take the Splinters. It's not an awful sideboard card, but we probably have so much removal that we don't want some subpar removal spell like Bone Splinters in our deck. I'm sad about passing 2 Evolving Wilds, but I'm still going to put the Null in our deck. We have 2 green sources. We have a little bit of card draw. A card draw spell, I guess. I think that's probably enough. Okay, well, this is Prism Array, but I don't think... I mean, we do technically have the capacity to get it up to 5, but I don't think we're going to get there very often. I think I'll take Horribly Awry. It's probably a sideboard card for this deck because we have some good stuff going on. It's not bad to side in against opponents who have very low curves and stuff like that. Ooh, what? Why? I mean, it's like an embarrassment of riches, I guess, where I have... the same choice I had to make earlier between Complete Disregard and Evolving Wilds. But it's kind of frustrating at the same time, let's be honest. Okay, I think I have enough removal at this point. I think getting the Evolving Wilds to make sure we can play our Null is a good idea. And now, I mean, our mana is very consistent for a Null. I'll take an Altar's Reap for the sideboard. I'll take a Scour from the sideboard. There have been enough times where I've ended up against a Planeswalker, and I'm like, I have literally no way to deal with that. And that gives me a way to deal with that. I'll take a Geyser Field for the sideboard. And I don't really want a second one. I'll just take a Full Art Land. I mean, we have plenty of good sideboard cards, which doesn't always happen. I think this basically is our deck. We have some bounce, some removal, and some flyers. That's basically our plan. Some value cards like Baloth Null, Clutch of Currents, Merc Strider. Yeah, I think I like it. I think I like where we are. We didn't end up with a huge number of colorless spells, so I'm kind of glad I didn't take the earlier Sky Scourers. But I'm not. I kind of wish I'd taken them. Okay, so we probably need to cut 1 card, and I don't know what it is. It could be Tendrils, but I kind of want to see how it plays out main board. I haven't really had the opportunity to play it in this format, and we have a total of 1, 2, 3. We did end up with more of them, but we only have 3 creatures who die to it out of our 14, and our opponents are almost guaranteed to have more than that. And it's maybe sometimes it's just going to be a 1-for-1, but that's okay. It also works pretty well with our 1 Merc Strider because it exiles stuff. So what is the 1 card we want to cut? It may be Hagra Sharpshooter. I know I was talking about it being a solid card now, but I think we have enough, board stalls are going to be hard to make happen against us because we just have so many flyers and other ways to break through board stalls that I think, it's probably worth siding in against an opponent with lots of X1s where it can easily get some value, but I don't think we want it otherwise. And we do want the Warden for colorless source for both our Gravity Negator and our Cultivator Drone because, making our Merc Strider or Baloth Null fly or our 3/3 token could be a pretty big difference. Several of our cards already do fly, but not all of them. So, all right, I think this is our deck. I think I probably just play 1 Forest. I think I can get away with that. Then we have green and Unknown Shores and Crumbling Vestige as well, plus the Evolving Wilds. So it's like 4 green sources in a way. You do have to get the Vestige at the right time. You're usually going to want to play it early, but I think I'm okay with that, with the 1 Forest. So do I only want 6 black sources, though? Or I guess I have 7, 8, 8.5, or maybe 7.5 total. Something more like that. I mean, we do have more blue, but we only need one blue mana for all of it. We have one double black spell. Our best removal is black. I mean, this is probably reasonable. I mean, we only have one double black card, and it's not necessarily one our deck has to play early to get the value out of, because we have a lot of creatures who just survive a Flaying Tendrils. And yeah, I mean, I don't think with 13 creatures we really want to be running a Natural Endurance. It's just going to be a dead card too often, or like, something that doesn't really matter. I mean, our creatures are trying to avoid combat for the most part, so it's not. I mean, it is a good trick, but we don't need it in this deck, I don't think. We're not in the right kind of deck for it. All right, well, I think that's our deck. I think I like it a lot. We'll see how it does. Thanks for watching, and don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe if you want to see more draft videos or any of the other content I make either. So, see you in round 1.